Hi, welcome back to the farm. My name is Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. Still not a lot of rain, so our water situation is actually almost back to before we had rain a couple of weeks ago. Um, yeah, it doesn't last very long. You kind of have to have that continual rain all the way through, and the dams are basically dry. So if we have continued no rain, then we will be buying water because we need to wash and drink and all of those kinds of things. At the moment, we have enough to take care of animals. We've got some new IBC white tanks that we're filling at the moment, if we can, from rain. Um, and then we are getting some taps. We have to order them specially, taps that go onto them that you can then use a regular hose, and with gravity feeding, we should be able to use some of that for the animal water rather than having to rely on empty dams or on pumping from our tanks. But it is getting really green. There's even green in the sheep paddock where they are continuously eating every little piece that they can get their little hungry bellies on. So it is very much that green drought kind of situation because we're getting the early morning dew and the days are not quite as hot and the sun is not quite as intense. So it's not drying everything out the same way, but it is helping it to grow. So we have this sort of green that's appearing, but it's very much a surface thing, and there's really nothing below that. So it's a weird situation. Hopefully it breaks soon and we get some proper rain, like days of rain. I get that most people don't actually want that and want nice weather to be able to do things, but how about we say it can rain at night and then we can have nice days? Then everyone should be happy. I did spend a couple of days away this past week. I went to a little converted church in a small country town. It's funny that when I want to go away for a break, I go somewhere more country than where I live rather than going into a city. So I sat and stared out at multiple sheep and alpaca and all sorts of things in the paddock and sat and knit, which I will share very soon, and just had a really nice quiet time, really quiet, really dark at night, and enjoyed some peace. As this video goes live, I am setting up for the Yarra Valley Wool and Handicraft Show at the Moorbuck Community Centre in Moorbuck. I am in the Seniors Centre, so I hope to see you there. Please come and say hi. Um, as you've seen, I've been working really hard to prepare all of my yarn and the spindles and row counters and containers. So I have lots of stock and I'm really excited to get out for my first market of the year, to catch up with everybody because it's been a really long time. And then I'm going to be busy, like super busy. So I've got the market this Sunday, and then I've got the next two Sundays as well, both for the All About Fibre and Yarn Festival, first in Birregurra and then in Warragul. So lots to look forward to, and yeah, I'll be getting back from the Moorbark show and then sorting out my stuff and getting ready to do it all over again. So this week has been the fun week in preparation for markets. I have been playing around with setting up my stall, how I think it's going to look, getting my racks all ready and figuring out how I'm going to be displaying my new products, updating my photo gallery that I have on my iPad that I show while I'm at the market with all of your projects on it. So getting all of those things done, ready, and yeah, plenty to share. Well, I've actually made a lot of progress this week in spite of my cast-ons from last week, or perhaps because of my cast-ons from last week, bit of both, I think. Firstly, no work on the Pescadero jumper. Not really sure why. I just didn't end up picking it up at all. And no work on my Bali hat. But it will be with me on Sunday, so I will be getting some work on that at markets in the coming weeks. So first to the jumper that I'm making for my sister, which is a kind of made up pattern. I am basing it on the stitch numbers from the True Stripes jumper from the 52 weeks of Easy Knits, and then I'm using the shoulder and sleeve construction from the Le Bedeau sweater. I'll put the details below so you can see what I'm using. And I have finished the front. Super excited. I've now also given it a block. It's 100% acrylic, but it's definitely relaxed since I blocked it. And it's still rolling a little bit, but that's expected because it is all stockinette. So this is the front, the neck shaping, and still got a T-pin in it. Almost stabbed myself. And this is the back. So now I need to seam the shoulders together. I think I've spoken about this before. I'm going to do a visible seam for all of the seams. And it's like an I-cord seam. So you pick up one from each side and then you have an additional stitch in the middle, and you create an I-cord across the top, so across here. And I'm going to do that in the pink. Hang on a second, I have the colors here. No. So I'll do the seaming in the pink that I've used for the ribbing, and I'll also be picking up the ribbing around the neck and doing that in the pink. It is, I can't find the tag for it. I know that my cat's chewed on it, so I'm not actually sure where it ended up. This is a wool acrylic blend from Spotlight. It's a Moda Vera yarn. And then the body is in Moda Vera Valley 8 ply in the Latrobe colorway. So the sleeves are going to end up having thicker coloured stripes because I'm going to knit it in the round, and I'm not going to alternate skeins. And what I'm going to do is they will be bands of colour, and then I'm going to add in the white faux fur to make fuzzy sleeves. So that is the plan with that, and it's at the point where it needs to have some seaming done before I start knitting on the sleeves. And I think I'm going to have to figure out a way to kind of keep it contained while I knit on the sleeves because it's quite big. So I might sort of end up kind of putting it into a bag so I can easily move it around without agitating the stitches and without getting myself all tangled up in the project as well. And speaking of jumpers, I have also been blocking a jumper that my sister is crocheting for Adam. So she said to me, if I make a jumper, will you do the seaming? As in me do the seaming. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I don't mind doing a bit of mattress stitch. So I've just laid it out and I'm blocking that because it's a wool acrylic blend. So I've done it all to the measurements. It's quite thick. I've just turned it over so it will dry on the other side. And then all I need to do is seam across the top of the shoulders for her, and then she will attach and start crocheting down for the sleeves. So a little bit of not my own craft, but contributing to it in a little way. So most of the progress after I finished the front of the jumper was on the things that I had just cast on, or almost cast on. First to the Bendigo socks by Kath Martin. These are part of the Bendigo project that I talked about last week. The theme of the project is stripes, and the idea is that everyone knits on something with stripes, either a jumper, a top, a cowl, or the socks, and then you can wear them at Bendigo together with everyone who has done the same project. So I have worked top down, which is very rare for me. Most of my socks I do toe up, and I don't do any patterning on them. It looks quite skinny and narrow, but I have tried it on and it does fit. I actually, from last week, ripped it back, even though I dropped a stitch and that was fine. I picked it up and then I tried it on and the cast on was too tight on my leg, so I had to rip it back and start again. But as you can, it actually has quite a lot of stretch in it, and it has this really cool cable pattern down the leg, and that continues onto the foot as well. And it is a really simple 1x1 cross, and there are really clear instructions about how to do that without using a cable needle, and it is a nice rhythmical pattern that keeps you just wanting to do one more cable, which is actually really good and why I think I got so much done. It has instructions for making it, you can use like scrappier, make it stripes along the leg, but I kept it plain. And then I did the heel flap and gusset, and it's been a long time since I did a heel flap and gusset. And this is a Dutch heel, I believe. Now, I didn't quite follow the pattern. I think in the pattern, these stripes are supposed to be in garter stitch. Two things. First, I didn't read the pattern properly and I did the first stripe and then realized that it was supposed to be. And then I decided that I think I would prefer it to be stockinette anyway, because I'll be putting these, this is DK yarn, and I'll be putting it into my boots, and I didn't want it to have any like extra bulk on the outside. So I'm a few repeats into the foot now. I've done 2 of the cable crosses, I think. So I am working down the foot. So the contrast yarn is just some of my own hand-dyed yarn that I had in my cupboard, and this is a 4-ply, so I held it double for the heel. And the 8-ply that I'm using for the socks is the Socks Yeah in the Dionysus colorway, and I was a viewer explained to me that it's like the god of wine, and it is a very winey color. It's like a purpley red color, so it's the perfect name. So I'm really enjoying these socks. I'm thinking maybe just for a bit of fun, I'll do yellow for the second one, or maybe I'll do yellow for the toe on these, and then just to give it some bright colored stripes, and make it a little fun. And they'll be inside my boot, so I'll know that they're there. But from and everyone else's perspective, it'll just be this beautiful wine color. And I did do a couple of extra repeats of the cable because I just wanted to make sure that it was long enough that it would poke out above my Merry People boots. Oh, and I did buy myself a set of fixed circular needles for knitting these socks. Last week I was using my interchangeables, and I had them on the clear cables, and so they were twisting here, like there's a twist bit through here, and they were clanking around a bit too much, and it just didn't feel quite right. I knit my socks on Addies. I have 2.75s that I use for all of my 4mm socks, and so I bought these 3.25 80cm cables to be able to continue to knit these socks. And my plan is hopefully to buy some more DK sock yarn at the market that I'm on Sunday, if I get a chance to wander around and pick something up. So yeah, because I just love how fast these are going, and I think they're going to be perfect for winter to either just wear around the house or to pop inside a boot. And last but certainly not least, I have done quite a lot on the Happy Street that I talked about casting on last week. It is now definitely cast on. I had mentioned that I was going to use this blue, and I don't actually think I'm going to. What I've done is I've cast on using this pink, which is, if I have a tag in here, which is Dream in Colour yarn, Perfectly Posh singles. It is a wool cashmere silk baby fine mohair, and it was from their February 2014 Dream Club. So it's been in my stash for a really long time. And it is really pretty. It's a variegated pink, and it goes from quite dark through to some quite bright neons, and then some whites and some light pinks. And then the stripe colors, I am using 3 Madeline Tosh colorways, and I used these in my first Happy Street that I made. And we've got these 3 here. So I've got scraps. They're reasonably sized balls. I think it's like about 33-ish grams of each. So I'm using those for the stripes. So far, it's a bit bunched up because I'm using quite a short cable. I think I'm going to have to switch to a longer cable very soon. It starts here, and I've done one of the light color, then the next light pink, and I'm halfway through the purpley pink stripe before I go back and add in more of this dark pink. So we'll go this way. I think it's really pretty. So I don't think this is going to come into it, but then this might end up getting paired with this to make another one. Let's see how we go. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving the short rows. I am using German short rows instead of wraps and turns. It's just my preferred method, and I think it's quite neat. Sorry, clinking. I can show you. So that's the front, and this is the back. And see, you can see those double stitches where you make the German short rows. So it's actually really easy to keep track when you're doing the pink section of the short rows, because you can see where those turns were and can just easily pick up each of those and not really have to count which row you're on, because you can see those little doubles through there to be able to keep track. So loving the colors, loving the stripes, and it's really quite addictive, and I'm getting into a real rhythm of it. It's all garter stitch, and there's not a huge amount of counting, because once you've kind of counted across once to where this starts, then you just a one before, one before, one before, and you do that the right number of times, and you go all the way back across, bring in the pink, and then you're just going along and picking up one of each of those bumps until you've picked them all up, and then you go back to all the way across and adding in your new color. So it's a lovely, easy pattern, and I don't think that really gives anything away, because you can see that from actually just looking at it. There's a few little bit tricks and things in there to get you going on it, but it's just, I remember that I really enjoyed it the first time, and as I said last week, I really love the fit and the way that it sits on you, and you end up with these beautiful little curls at the end, at the tail of the shawl. So I'm looking forward to a bright pink one, as opposed to a light colored one that has these 2 colors as the stripes. So it's actually making these colors look very different in this version than it does in the other version. Next week, I think I should bring back across the other one, and you can see how same but different they are. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.